So Deadpool and Korg are in this movie? Yeah, I'm interested. Free Guy! Released in 2021 and is directed by Shawn Levy, who has also directed such films like Big Fat Liar, Cheaper by the Dozen, the Night at the Museum trilogy, Real Steel, and Stranger Things. So this guy firmly has his hands on the handles of pop culture. And this film is starring Ryan Reynolds, Jodie Comer, Lil Rel Howery, Joseph Keery, and Taika Waititi. And the reason why we're talking about Free Guy today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my biggest supporters on this channel, Autumn Blood. You strike again. You actually sent this recommendation in pretty recently from your recent donations, but I really wanted to see this movie last year. I just never got around watching it. But since you made the PayPal donation and recommended this thing to me, I expedited your expedites to get this one done faster, because I just really wanted to watch this movie. And for the most part, yeah, I thought this was a pretty enjoyable time. Free City is a massive multiplayer online role-playing video game that is taking the world by storm. People create their avatars and are given specific tasks to complete to gather up points and to level up. But what these real-life online players don't take into account is the actual lives of all of the background characters and extras within the video game. And that's where Guy comes in, played by Ryan Reynolds. Every day he lives out the same routine over and over and over again, but is constantly wondering if there is some secret hidden meaning to life. And all of a sudden, Guy starts breaking his routine. This leads to Guy freely roaming the game and leveling up and destroying everyone who is doing injustice in the game, while the game creators are getting annoyed and threaten to shut down the game forever. And from the initial trailer of this movie, I was very intrigued, because really this is how video games are nowadays. They are open, they are online, they're role-playing. Really, it's an open world, you can do whatever you want. Those are the big selling games of the generations within the last decade. And personally, I've always wondered about those background people who are just in the game every single time, who are just walking down the street and say it's Grand Theft Auto and you're driving your taxi around, you're taking out everyone. You know, you kind of feel bad for all of those people who are just casually walking in the background that you hit with your car. So I love the concept of this movie. The message behind here is that no one really can control what you do with your life other than yourself, or at least that's not how it should be. There is a little spark that is missing with this story, though. And I think the spark that is missing for me is this idea of free will, and how Free Guy, he is an algorithm. He's a character that was kind of put into the background of the video game by one of the original creators. Because of this algorithm, once it gets activated, then he starts making all of these different choices and operating in this system freely, as opposed to sticking to his same routine over and over and over again. And I don't know if maybe it's because he's a computer program, or this uncanny valley type effect that's going on here, but maybe it's because he's a video game character and not in the quote-unquote real world, that I'm not as connected to him as I would be if this was real life. I was wanting it to be something more of like this artificial intelligence is starting to break out on his own and developing his free choices and free will on his own. I think because you're attaching it to like, oh, well, I gave you the power to do that, it kind of diminishes the impact that that idea of free will can have in this story. So because it's not really him making the decision to have free will, I don't feel it as impactful and powerful, at least for me anyway. The spark of this movie is missing. Maybe someone out there doesn't agree with that and was really into this movie and loved his character progression, but for me, the spark wasn't there. I do love Ryan Reynolds, though. Whenever he's on screen, a smile just comes on my face. He is so charming. He is a great improviser, and yeah, he commands the space whenever he is there, and everyone, you can tell, just looks up to him and are just looking for him to lead the way. He has that quality, which is a great quality for this guy, this blue shirt guy. Even though he is a background player, he's a background extra, the background extras look up to this guy. And if he's making his own free decisions, maybe I'll start making my own free decisions too. Who knows? And I love this world that Guy lives in and roams freely in. I love the visual effects, the CGI, the concept of putting on these glasses. Then you start seeing all of the in-game rewards and coins and health packs and things like that. love all that concept. However, when this movie moves from the video game world to the real life world with the video game creators and looking at the, computer screens, and Taika Waititi comes in and says, "Oh, we're upgrading to Free City 2," I am just not connected. Every time we go there, I'm like, okay, take me back to the fake world. Take me back to the gaming world, because that's where the real story is. That's where I care about. And in the real world, the problem is that there are these two game creators who were bought out by Taika Waititi's character. He's taken over, he's making all of the money, and Joe Keery is one of the creators, but because he doesn't have a backbone or is afraid of telling the girl that he really likes how he really feels about her, he just takes a job with Taika Waititi's character, just to be close to his game, because that's what you do. I felt myself rolling my eyes whenever the real world stuff came on screen. I'm like, just stop. Send me back to Ryan Reynolds. Send me back to him going around just killing all of these people, or serving justice to all of these gamers in this world who are just being dicks. And I know from what this story is, it's hard not to just focus everything on the computer game and the characters in the game. You have to go outside the world, because that's what the concept was with this movie. I just feel, though, with the direction that this movie went in and the decisions about the plot that were put into this movie, felt to just kind of lessen the impact for me. Within Free City, it seems like we have these world-ending consequences and a mission that Guy has to go on to save the entire world. But then you think about it and you go like, well, it's just a computer world. If that crashes, I could just play something else. So there's a little disconnect again for me, where it's like, okay, world-ending stakes that I'm not really connecting to because it's a video game. If it crashes, it crashes. Okay. I'll go read a book. In the end, I guess there is a lot to like about this movie, and I use the word like because that's the best word to describe this movie. I like it. There's things to like about it. Is it anything great? No. Is it anything that I'm going to rush back to want to see again and again and again? No, not really. Where the plot goes, in particular with the real-world characters, it was just kind of cliche and stuff we've seen before, nothing new. If you are going to watch this movie, though, watch it for Ryan Reynolds. He is a joy, he is a laugh. Every time he comes on screen, he is great to watch in this movie. I'm going to give Free Guy 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
Alright everyone, now because my favorite part of my video is where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next, and tomorrow is Friday, so we're going to use the random generator to randomly select from one of the many movies that I own, so let's take a look. Disney's Pocahontas. You can paint with all the colors of the wind. You can paint with all the colors of the wind. I haven't seen this movie in a very long time. I remember watching it and listening to the soundtrack on repeat back in the 90s when it originally came out. And I don't think I've watched it again just because, well, it's the Disney-ified version of white people meeting up with Native Americans in this country. And they're like, oh, we're all happy and together. When in real life, that's not what happened at all. We basically stole their land from them. So I think that's why I've never gone back to watch this movie, because it's so inaccurate. But I'm going to revisit it and give it a chance next time. So guys, have you seen Free Guy? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Pocahontas. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.